Hey, what's up? It's Jay Berube, and if you're a real estate agent who would like to make more money, stay in the business, and not get pushed out when we have any type of market downturn, you're going to want to watch this video. Let me take you back. Back in 2004, I first got into real estate, and this was in Southwest Florida. It was the heyday, right? I mean, this is when the getting was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, the getting's good. And I was working middle management at a hotel. I had a sales rep come in, and he had said to me, Jay, you need to go sell something. And at that time, dude, I'm 24. I didn't think that way. I thought, okay, middle management, moving up the chain. It was a large hotel chain, so like there was a lot of different possibilities. But I was head of the laundry department. I mean, where was I going from there? For real. So he said, go sell something. So I'm an action taker. I immediately got online, because that's how I type. And I went and got my real estate license because biggest reward, lowest barrier of entry. Okay, so big commission checks and easy to get a license, which I talk about all the time. It's insane how little education someone needs to get their real estate license, because high rewards, okay, big commission checks, and low barriers of entry, okay, like little education took 62 hours or something like that, maybe 64, sorry, to get my real estate license in Florida. Okay, so this is good. Properties are selling fast. I have a real estate license, okay? So it's like hunting season. You have a lot of I don't know what people hunt. I was going to say horses. Nobody hunts horses. Deer, okay? So there's a lot of deer, and I have buckshot, okay? So like really big buckshot. I'm not a hunter, if you can't tell. So it was game on. So I borrowed $1,000 to get a brand new Lexus because I was 24 and I didn't have any experience in real estate. So I thought that meant I need to buy an expensive car to seem like I'm credible. Well, what I didn't think about is that most of the people buying in Southwest Florida at that time were from the Midwest and Northeast. So because it's a transient area, and it was a lot of investors, speculators, right? Choice words. So I didn't get to meet any of them face to face anyway, most of them. So, and this is how I sold most of my properties during my career. I have not met a majority of my clients face to face. But that's another story for another time. So I get the real estate license, and I immediately go out and start selling new construction. All these folks that are buying, this is in 2004, mind you. This is like when things are starting to shake, okay? And, it started happening, this market instability. So speculators, they would buy the properties, or they would put down earnest money, and then sometimes we'll do a simultaneous closing. They could take 15 grand and turn it into 45 grand in a very short amount of time with very, I guess at that time, low risk, but that's probably questionable because the risk was much higher than people had thought. So low perceived risk at the time. That makes more sense. Now, we got to the point where people kind of, I say, got caught. Okay, so speculators now were holding on to contracts because there was, it was almost overnight. It was this stall in the market. So all of a sudden, the speculators could not flip these homes. They couldn't assign them. Some people were walking away from their earnest money, which definitely is a smart move. Well, not is a smart move, but it was at the time, depending on how much you have down. But the losses that some people took, I remember people saying, I'll wait for the market to come back, like that kind of thing. And that's the impression I was under too. I didn't know how long it would take for the market to recover, or if it ever fully did. So here's the question I asked. I asked the question because I thought logically, Okay, which is the first thing that you need to do. You have to think logically about what is going to happen and what are people's options. Okay, what is it? Now, at that time for me, it was okay, we have property and they don't want it. The people that owned it didn't want it, so they didn't want to close on it. But it was an option, but it wasn't an option they want to take. Um, they could lower the price and lose money, or they could walk away from their money. Those also were not options that most of them wanted to take. So I thought, why don't we rent them out? Okay, that was the question I asked. I said, well, do you want to rent it out or do you want to do this, this, this? I said, we could rent it out until the market recovers. And everybody signed up for that. That was the jam, right? So then I started asking other agents. So I started growing. I started growing my property management company like quickly. And then I started asking other agents because I had a good name in the area. My I guess philosophy is do good to others. A friend of mine, Phil Zengel, which I don't know if I even pronounce that name right now. Zaengle. Yeah, I know, right? Zengel. It's like a J. Okay. So he gave us a shirt. Be nice, do good. And I love it. It's just so simple, but I love it. Anyway, I digress. So I started asking other agents if they have clients who want to rent their properties out. And I was amazed at the yeses that I got, and that all of these agents did not want to do this work and started just feeding me the business, okay, giving me the referrals. I gave them back the sales. So now that's the second lesson there. Don't be afraid to ask those questions because you don't always know the answer. Okay. Now I was young and naive, so it was easier, I think, for me to ask questions because I didn't know. So when you don't know what you don't know, if you don't know, yeah, I know, then you just sometimes do things. Like that's how I ended up in India. I had a 5-week trip to India because somebody asked me, "Hey, do you want to go to India with Rotary for 5 weeks?" And I said yes, not knowing anything about it. That's when I was 28. But so properties management, 2 years. Within 2 years, I grew to 350 units. It felt like overnight because I did not know what I was doing for the most part. It's hard when you're bringing in leads. Like that time, I didn't have a leads problem. That's kind of good, okay? But I had other problems. So just because you have a ton of leads doesn't mean you're not going to have other problems, which is another lesson you can take from that. So I have all these properties. Now it's 2008, and my business is growing at this time. I mean, it's like 25, 25, 25. It's 25%. Like it just keeps going up. And this was awesome. I mean, I'm growing my business when so many other agents are just mass exiting real estate. And Lehman Brothers, 2008. The mortgage crisis, 2008. Like this is that was that critical time. Now we're starting to get all of these short sales. Most real estate agents don't want to deal with short sales. They didn't. Maybe they do now, but they did not at the time. So I just started asking, if anyone had any clients that wanted to short sell their property. And then that's what happened. I started getting tons of referrals for short sales. And, I'd say the rest was history, but it's not. I mean, I'll still take short sales. But I would get referrals from other agents because they didn't want to deal with the work. So that's another lesson. Be willing to do what others are not. And that's what I was. I mean, I was scrappy. So I grew the property management company. I grew short sales. I was doing almost 100 units a year with mostly people I've never met and, agent referrals. So that's how you grow your business in a downturn. You have to be open-minded. You have to take the opportunities that you have in front of you and run with them.